Today, you're going to improve your English fluency by reading and listening to English at the same time. We're going to read a news article together. Welcome back to JForrest English. Of course, I'm Jennifer. Now let's get started.
First, I'll read the headline. McDonald's concept Cosmics could win the coffee war against Starbucks and Dunkin'. So did you hear that McDonald's opened a new store, and that store is called Cosmics? I just learned this for the very first time, and that's what we'll discuss in this article. So notice here, Cosmics. This is the name of the new store owned by McDonald's. At first, I didn't understand the name Cosmics, but then I realized, it's the adjective cosmic. Cosmic as an adjective is when things are relating to the universe. So you could say, there was a cosmic blast. There's some sort of blast in space. It relates to the universe. Now notice here it says concept. McDonald's concept Cosmics. A concept store. This is a store that tries to sell you more of an experience rather than just a product. So you don't go in and just get your coffee, for example. It's supposed to be a really interesting experience while you get your coffee. That's called a concept store. So it seems like that's what Cosmics is trying to do. Now, it could win the coffee war. Of course, in this case, war represents competition against Starbucks and Dunkin'. If you're not aware, Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts, these are two coffee restaurants in North America, and they're the most popular in North America, Starbucks and Dunkin'. Now, don't worry about taking notes because I summarize everything in a free lesson PDF, so you can look in the description to download that. So let's learn about this new store, Cosmics. And it looks like this is what it will look like. So in a way, similar to the style of the McDonald's brand. McDonald's has begun to open the first locations of its experimental retro coffee drive-thru. Okay, let's take a look at retro. Retro is an adjective and it means fashion or styles of the past. For example, I love retro clothes. So maybe clothes they wore in the 1980s, the 1950s, anytime in the past that isn't currently the style that people wear. I know a lot of people like retro cars from the 40s, for example. And if you look at this sign, the font of the sign, to me, it does look a little retro, a sign that you might find in the past. And notice here they said retro coffee drive-thru. So drive-thru is, of course, when you don't go inside a store, you stay in your car and you order in your car and then you get your beverage in your car as well. So you don't go into a physical store. Cosmics is entering a crowded market, but may have a playbook for success. So a market in terms of coffee would represent all the stores, all the brands that are currently selling coffee. So as we know, there's already Starbucks and Dunkin', but there's many others as well. Now, Cosmics is entering that crowded market. So if it's crowded, it means there's already a lot of stores, a lot of brands in the coffee business. Now let's talk about a playbook for success. This is a sports reference. Basically, you can think of it as the instructions for success. Success is a noun, so that's why you have the preposition for success. But if you want to use a verb, you would need the infinitive. The instructions to become successful. That would be a playbook for success, a playbook to become successful. And I hope my videos and my YouTube channel are your playbook for success, meaning that they give you the step-by-step instructions. You just need to follow my lessons, follow my advice, and then you'll get the result you want, fluent English. So if you think so, put, I have the playbook for success, which is my videos, my YouTube channel. I have the playbook for success. Put that in the comments.
Before we move on, I'd love to tell you about LingQ, my personal favorite way to learn a language. LingQ is a language app that lets you learn from content you love. The reason why I use LingQ to learn languages and why I recommend you do too is because of the app's focus on input. On LingQ, you have access to thousands of hours of content that includes both audio and text, so you can both read and listen to English. Plus, you can import content directly from YouTube, Netflix, blogs, the news, and much more. For example, you know those news articles that I like to share in my videos? You can easily import them into LingQ and create your own interactive lessons. You'll be able to easily look up words and phrases, track your statistics, and level up your English ability. I first started using LingQ because the platform was co-founded by Steve Kaufman. He's a polyglot who speaks 20 languages. His method focuses on input, lots of reading and lots of listening. And that's why LingQ, the app Steve co-founded, is so effective. It makes reading and listening to content in my target language easier and more enjoyable. LingQ is available on both desktop and mobile, so you can practice your English anytime, anywhere. And LingQ is giving all JForrest English viewers a 35% discount off a 1-year premium plan if you upgrade using my coupon code. You'll also have access to my special LingQ shelf, which includes my favorite English articles and TV shows. I highly recommend LingQ because I know it will help you improve your English quickly and you'll have a lot of fun in the process. So use the link in the description to sign up now. Let's continue with our lesson.
The promise of galactic beverages drew hundreds to a small Chicago suburb last Thursday. Let's talk about galactic. Just like cosmic relates to the cosmos, the universe, galactic relates to the galaxy. So again, the universe. When I read this is when I understood the name cosmic. Oh, it's cosmic like universe, because galactic is galaxy. Now, I'm not sure how their beverages will be galactic, but I guess that's probably part of their concept store. Remember, they want it to be an experience. So maybe you'll be served this very interesting drink that somehow looks galactic. I'm not sure because I've never been to a Cosmix. We'll have to find out. So the promise of galactic beverages drew hundreds. This means hundreds of people, just drew hundreds. It's implied hundreds of people. Now, if it drew the people, it means it attracted the people. Here's an example. The promise of a free lunch drew all the employees to the meeting. So maybe the meeting was on a boring topic, but the free lunch, that's what attracted the employees. That's what drew the employees. So this is the past simple of the verb to draw. Just like attract, here you have attracted. And if you didn't know what a suburb is, it's an area of the city where there are many homes and even schools, restaurants, stores, but it's just an area that's outside of the main city, but it's very close to the main city. So because the cities are contained spaces, and as they expand, they have to build suburbs around the city. So that's what a suburb is. So this is where Cosmix launched their first store in a small Chicago suburb. Customers queued for hours. some offered bribes to shorten their wait. So some people, some of the customers who were waiting, who were queued for hours, they tried to offer bribes, which would mean they went up to someone closer to the front of the line and maybe said, hey, I'll give you $100 if I can take your place. That would be a bribe. So that's pretty funny. I wrote that definition for you. Now let's continue. Lines of cars snaked around. So just imagine you have the store here, but the line can't be in a straight line because likely there are other buildings, there are other roads. So if the line snakes, it just means it goes like this, just like that's the movement of a snake, because it's not possible just to go in a straight line. So lines of cars snaked around the suburb of fewer than 80,000 residents, all in pursuit of one thing: a specialty sip from Cosmix, McDonald's new beverage concept store. So we already know what a concept store, it's a store that's trying to sell an experience. And remember, because they use this galactic beverages, perhaps the experience they're trying to sell is these really interesting beverages that seems like they're from outer space, from the galaxy. And that relates to the name of the store being Cosmix. A specialty sip. So the verb to sip is what I'm doing right now, not from Cosmix, from my own kitchen. So this is sip, but a sip is just a noun. It's the noun form. So I took a sip of my coffee. So that would be the noun. And then in that case, the verb is take. You can take a sip, or you can simply sip, which would be the verb. Let's continue. The restaurant, which was announced only a day before its soft opening on December 7th, is rooted in beverage exploration. Okay. So that means all these people in Chicago who were queued for hours and trying to offer bribes to shorten their wait, they only found out that Cosmix was opening the day before it opened. So on December 6th, they found out. Now, a soft opening is when a store opens, but just like in this case, they don't open everywhere. They just open in one location. And stores will do this to have a soft opening just to see if it's successful or not, just to see if people want the product or not. So if this one store doesn't do very well, if the soft opening isn't successful, then Cosmix might not exist in the future. So you can think of soft opening as a limited opening or a test opening to judge the success. Now, I commonly hear launch because when you launch something, it means you start it for the first time, and that's used for businesses. So the people who work at Cosmix, they might say, our soft launch went great. There were cars snaked around the suburb and people were queued for hours waiting for their specialty sip of their galactic beverage. Okay. Now, it's rooted in beverage exploration. This means that it's deeply connected to beverage exploration, so trying different things, experimenting with types of beverages, galactic beverages, apparently. So you can think of it as this is the reason why Cosmix exists. It exists to explore beverages, which is another reason why it could be considered a concept store where they're selling you more of an experience, because you could get this very interesting creative beverage that you've never tried before. Unlike a standard McDonald's storefront, Cosmix is drive-through only. So only meaning you can't go into the physical store. It doesn't exist. Drive-through only. The new approach also leans into what the company calls bold and unexpected flavor combinations. Let's talk about this phrasal verb to lean into something. When you lean into something, it means you embrace it or you accept it. So cosmics is embracing really unexpected flavor combinations. What's the first unexpected flavor combination that comes to your mind? The first one that came to my mind is, let's say, ginger vanilla. I don't think ginger and vanilla necessarily pair together like traditionally. So maybe that's an unexpected flavor combination you could find at Cosmics. I just made that up. What about you? What's an unexpected flavor combination? Okay, so they name some examples. Think, so they want you to think when you hear bold and unexpected flavor combinations, think specialty lemonades. So maybe a lemonade with ginger and vanilla. Does that sound delicious? Specialty lemonades, cold coffee concoctions, and signature slushes. A concoction, this is when something is made by combining many different things. So a cold coffee concoction. So what could you combine? Well, you have your coffee, you have your milk, maybe you have, what did I say? Ginger and vanilla, and let's throw in some mango as well. And that can be a cold coffee concoction. Do you want to try that? And then how about signature slushes? A slush is a thick, cold drink made from crushed ice. And I put thick here because it's important, because a cold beverage, you could just drink it. But a slush, generally you would almost eat it with a spoon because it's very thick. So that's a slush. So those are the beverages you can find at Cosmics. McDonald's plans to open approximately 10 pilot locations in the US by the end of 2024. A pilot, in terms of a business, means they're just testing it. It's a test location. So again, it's like the soft opening. They're testing it to see, do people like this? Is it profitable? Is it successful? If it is, well, then they'll expand and they'll open more locations in other parts of the world as well. So that would be a pilot location, a test location. Now, if Cosmics opened in your city, let's imagine they did open wherever you are in the world and they opened a Cosmics. Would you go? Would you want to try it? Let us know in the comments. I definitely would. I'm not a fan of McDonald's, to be honest, but I like beverages. So I really want to know what these cosmic, galactic, interesting beverages are. So I would definitely try it. It's entering a crowded and growing market of fast coffee heavyweights. Heavyweights, this is a sports term, I believe, specific to boxing. If you watch boxing, maybe you already know this. But in this context, heavyweights relates to the most important companies or brands in the market. So in North America, the fast coffee heavyweights are Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts. According to data, the branded coffee market currently stands 7% above its pre-pandemic size. So this simply means that since the pandemic, Starbucks and Dunkin's and other coffee stores, they've grown 7%. So they're sharing this information just to show you that the market is already very crowded. There are already heavyweights in the market. With market leaders Starbucks and Dunkin', remember they're the heavyweights, projected to reach 16,144 and 9,434 US stores. Wow, there are 16,000 Starbucks in the US alone. And Cosmics is launching with 10 pilot locations. So those 10 pilot locations have to compete against 16,000 existing Starbucks in the US. But that's probably why they're doing something different. They have this concept store with these galactic beverages. in 2024, respectively. Now, when they add respectively and you see numbers or information, it means that this number, the first number, relates to the first noun, and the second number relates to the second noun. That's what happened when you use respectively. Let's continue. These numbers may be daunting for a new player in the fast coffee space. If you describe something as daunting, so daunting is the adjective, the verb is be, it means that it makes you feel slightly, which means just a little, slightly worried about your ability to succeed. So again, when Cosmix sees that there are almost 17,000 stores, Starbucks stores, and they're opening 10, it might make them worried about their ability to succeed. So that number is daunting. For you, I know a lot of students feel that learning phrasal verbs is daunting because there are so many of them. You can't guess their meaning. The meaning changes depending on the context, and native speakers love using phrasal verbs. But you might say learning phrasal verbs was daunting, which means in the past, because remember, you need your verb to be, and then you conjugate your verb to be. Daunting is the adjective. Learning phrasal verbs was daunting, but now I have the playbook for success. Remember, what's that playbook? My videos, my channel, because I teach you so many phrasal verbs and you learn them in context, which makes them less daunting. So that's why you're putting this in the past. Hopefully you feel that way. These numbers may be daunting for a new player in the fast coffee space. So a new player is a new company that has entered the market. But experts say Cosmix may be poised to carve out its own place in the highly competitive landscape. Let's look at be poised to. When you're poised to do something, so you need the infinitive after. When you're poised to do something, it just means you're ready to do something. You're prepared to do something. I'm poised to take my IELTS because I have the playbook for success. So Cosmix may be poised to carve out its own place. In this context, when they carve out their own place, it means they successfully get their place. So they can carve out a share of the coffee market. So they can establish themselves as a player, a heavyweight in the coffee market. Their own place in the highly competitive landscape. Landscape simply means market, or you can refer to it as marketplace because I believe I said that. So let me add or marketplace. And remember, marketplace, that represents all the companies that are already in the coffee industry. And that is the end of our article. So what I'll do now is I'll read the article from start to finish, and this time I want you to focus on my pronunciation. McDonald's concept Cosmix could win the coffee war against Starbucks and Dunkin'. McDonald's has begun to open the first locations of its experimental retro coffee drive-thru. Cosmix is entering a crowded market, but may have a playbook for success. The promise of galactic beverages drew hundreds to a small Chicago suburb last Thursday. Customers queued for hours. Some offered bribes to shorten their wait. Lines of cars snaked around the suburb of fewer than 80,000 residents, all in pursuit of one thing, a specialty sip from Cosmix, McDonald's new beverage concept store. The restaurant, which was announced only a day before its soft opening on December 7th, is rooted in beverage exploration. Unlike a standard McDonald's storefront, Cosmix is drive-thru only. The new approach also leans into what the company calls bold and unexpected flavor combinations. Think specialty lemonades, cold coffee concoctions, and signature slushes. McDonald's plans to open approximately 10 pilot locations in the U.S. by the end of 2024. Is entering a crowded and growing market of fast coffee heavyweights. According to data, the branded coffee market currently stands 7% above its pre-pandemic size, with market leaders Starbucks and Dunkin' projected to reach 16,144 and 9,434 U.S. stores in 2024, respectively. These numbers may be daunting for a new player in the fast coffee space, but experts say Cosmix may be poised to carve out its own place in the highly competitive landscape.
So did you enjoy this lesson? Do you want me to make more lessons where we review news articles? If you do, then put Cosmix in the comments. And of course, make sure you like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you're notified every time I post a new lesson. And remember that LingQ is giving you an amazing 35% discount off a 1-year premium plan. I know you'll love using LingQ, and it will really help you take your fluency to the next level. You can click here to get started or look for the link in the description to learn more right now.